uitslag is dat dit gestabiliseer is en dit eintlik draai na die positiewe toe.
I think it's a mixed message, probably more good than bad. I think there's been some very positive developments in the last few years, and particularly in the last year.
Today, and you'll be giving a talk on that. You'll break for tea here today. And then we have the industries.
Tip the balance where we've gone too far over onto the one side, and
this belt is dated at about 470 million years. And it was formed on very short time scales, at hours to days, others are longer lived, and they respond over months.
We need a healthy environment to create opportunities, but we also need to make sure that the healthy environment create opportunities for the people, otherwise we won't have a healthy environment for very long. The Saldanha Bay Water Quality Trust Forum. I absolutely love this initiative.
You've got a lot of industrial development, industriële ontwikkeling in die gebied, en jy het ook ekologiese standaarde, die marine protected area in die gebied, en daar moet jy 'n balans vind. So 'n organisasie monitor dan die situasie, en die trust het oor die afgelope 23 jaar hierdie moniteringswerk gedoen. So dan kan ons sien wat die impak van die noorde, die industriële noorde en die ekologiese syde op die baai en die lagoon dan het. En so kan ons daarom vir mense daar buite sê, dis die huidige omstandighede, the current reality, sodat daar regstellende stappe geneem kan word om dit dan uit te sorteer.
We did see some interesting effects of COVID, how when you take people out of the landscape for a while, it really does have an effect on wildlife populations. It gives the wildlife a bit of a chance to return to the natural habitats which we sometimes invade. So mostly positive. I think there are some still concerning storm clouds on the horizon in terms of development in the bay and around the bay, but I think overall positive message coming out here. I think everyone is doing, a lot of people are working hard behind the scenes here to try and address the problems that we have experienced in the past, so mostly positive.
Important to monitor what the fish and sharks are doing in the lagoon in terms of their numbers and how abundant they are. And traditional methods rely on catch and release or net fishing and catching the fish. And so what we wanted to do was use these underwater cameras to see if we could pick up important species and get an idea of diversity and abundance in the lagoon, on the sea floor and underneath the water.
And what did you find? What was the result?
So what's really interesting is that we have found over 19 different species that have been detected on the camera so far, and all the way from cuttlefish to white stumpnose to elf to stinkies, smoothhound sharks. So there's a great diversity that's been attracted to these underwater cameras. And we're also starting to understand how the influence of temperature and depth are impacting the different species we see, and also we're looking at the impact of the different zones of the marine protected area. So some of the marine protected area is closed to fishing, some of it is open to fishing, and we're having a look at how the communities differ between these zones and whether there's any differences in the trends. And so far we've been doing this for about 3 years. And what was really interesting is that we saw the most abundance of fish and diversity during the years where we had COVID and lockdown, so minimal human activities. And we're starting to see these patterns over time.
Well, there's a lot of recommendations. Mostly we need to keep focusing on those key issues that affect the bay, the effluent discharge, the cumulative impacts of development, the alien species. We're seeing alien species increasing all the time. Disturbance, human disturbance is obviously always an issue. And just keep monitoring, keep an eye on the most important thing. The work the Trust does is to really bring the message home to people so that the people are aware of what's happening and not taking your eyes off the ball, I guess is the critical thing.
Die uitslag is dat dit gestabiliseer is en dit eintlik draai na die positiewe toe, maar ons kan nie ophou moniteer nie. Monitering en scientific monitoring, nee. Wetenskaplik. Ons moet dit wetenskaplik doen sodat dit nie bevraagteken kan word nie.
This lagoon is vitally important because it provides a protection for the breeding stock and a nursery area for juvenile fish to grow. And this really is our piggy bank of our fish. You know, it's our savings account. And really protecting this habitat and making sure that it's a healthy breeding area. We can continue to fish sustainably in areas outside of that and make sure that we really protect those fish that are breeding and contributing to the population.